Alrighty, last little bit here. Talking about arithmetic series. So now we've figured out how to find the terms in their arithmetic sequence. Now we're going to take those terms and add them up. So putting into words first, and then we'll talk about the specifics. The sum of the first n terms of an arithmetic series is the product of the number of terms and the average of the first and last terms. That is a bit wordy. So let's take a look at the number example. So if you're adding up, say, the first 5 even numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. What we're going to do is we've got 5 terms, and we're going to take 2 plus 10 and divide it by 2. This is that average I was talking about. And again, it's using average, meaning the mean in this case. So you're going to take the average of the first and last terms and multiply it by your total number of terms. Looking at the algebraic version of it, S sub n, where n is the number of terms you're adding up, is equal to n, that number of terms you're talking about, times your first term plus the last term in that sequence divided by 2. So n is the number of terms, a sub 1 is your first term, a sub n is your nth term. Let's try this out. So this one, starting with k equals 1 to 15 and to find each term, we'll do 5 plus 2k. You could always go through and find every term of this, plugging in 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, and find all 15 terms and add them all up. Instead, we're going to write S sub 15, and let me rewrite the generic version up here. We got S sub n equals n times a sub 1 plus a sub n over, 2. We're looking for n equals 15 because that's the number of terms we're adding up. And kind of plugging these on, and we got 15 times a sub 1 plus our last term is going to be a sub 15 over 2. To figure out our first term, a sub 1, we're just going to take k equals 1 and plug it in. So we got 5 plus 2 times 1, which ends up being 7. To find our 15th term, we're going to use that same equation. 5 plus 2 times, now instead of 1, we're going to multiply it by 15. Sorry, let me zoom in. My numbers are getting a little sloppy because I'm far zoomed out. So we got 5 plus 2 times 15. Well, 2 times 15 is 30, so plus 5 gives us 35. So let's replace everything else that we need to in here. So we got 15 times first term was 7 plus last term was 35 over 2. Cleaning that up a little bit more, we got 15 times 7 plus 35 is 42 over 2. Doing this as much by hand as possible, we got 15 times 21. When you multiply 15 by 21, you end up with 315. So we're going to say S sub 15 equals 315. Using that same strategy, I'd like you to pause the video for a second and try the second example on example 6. Okay, now that you've clearly paused and resumed it, let's figure out what we need to know. So for this one, we're still adding up 15 terms, so we're still got n equals 15. Let's find our first term. We got a sub 1 equals 50 minus 20 times 1. That ends up giving us 30. A sub 15 is going to be 50 minus 20 times 15. So we got 50 minus 300, which gives us negative 250. So the last term of that sequence is negative. So S sub 15 equals number of terms that we're adding up, 15, times 30 plus negative 250, all divided by 2. We got 15 times 30 plus negative 250 is negative 220 over 2. We got 15, negative 220 divided by 2 is negative 110. And when we multiply 15 by negative 110, we end up with negative 1,650. So for this sequence, for this series, S sub 15, the sum of the first 15 terms of that sequence is negative 1,650. And that's all.